Hey everybody, welcome back to the Planeswalker Coach channel. I'm your host, Paladin Robin. Folks, we're going to be taking a look at the cards for this set. We're going to be getting ourselves familiar with the cards. And the way we're going to do that is by looking at what I think are the top 10 cards of each rarity for this new set, Foundations. Alright, so take a look at all the videos that we have on this series here. You're going to see one for the masterpieces, one for the mythics, one for the rares, and then one for the commons and uncommons put together in one video. Alright, so take a look and kind of just alongside myself, get yourself familiar with this set. Okay, so with that being said, here are what I think are the top 10 masterpieces in Foundations. Alright, coming out in no particular order, here is the first one. Wiltleaf Liege. For 18, you get 4/4. That's a nice sized elf knight creature. At the beginning of your turn, your other green creatures get +1/+1. Then your other white creatures get +1/+1. When this creature leaves the battlefield, create an elf warrior token, then reinforce it X times. X is the total power of creatures that you control. Alright, so the elf warrior token is one that we've seen before. This is a really good one if you can stack it. There's a lot of tokens out there that can be really good if you stack, and this is one that I think is going to help you to just get these elf warriors out. What I would obviously do is use this with that flicker move that I always talk about on this channel, right? Flicker is when you exile this card and then bring it back. When you exile this card, it's going to count as leaving the battlefield, alright? And then that's going to, of course, let you have these elf warrior tokens, and then you get the reinforcement, so that's going to be great. This is going to be a really helpful creature card that's going to help you to get even more creatures out. So really cool one here. What I would do is take a look at Nalthazar's page. Nalthazar did a video on this card here. He does a terrific job during our spoiler season and pretty much throughout all times of the year. And he's done some really good work on this particular card, goes through it in depth, explains about how you can use this one, how you can maximize this one here, and I just would say go ahead and take a look at his work. He does some excellent stuff. Go check him out. Here's the next one, Aurelia the War Leader. For 18, you get a 3/4 Angel. This is at the beginning of the combat on your turn. Creatures you control gain double strike until the end of turn. I love double strike. It's one of my favorite abilities. This one and probably prevent damage is like one of my two favorites. I also love the ability for you to have death touch. Those are just cool abilities. This one will give you double strike for all your creatures. That's super awesome. This would be a really good addition to some of those speed decks that I like to build. Obviously, speed decks, you want to get damage done quickly and in the earlier parts of the game, and this is going to help you to do that with that double strike ability. So super cool card here, Aurelia the War Leader. Alright, here's the next one, Primeval Bounty. For 18, you get an enchantment support with 3 shields. When you cast a non-creature card, create 2 beast tokens. When you cast a creature card, creatures you control get +2/+2. So I think this is going to be useful in those ramping up decks. If you have those cards that will convert gems to green, you're going to be able to smash a lot of gems, convert a ton of stuff, and then really help you to get a ton of mana in your hand, which is going to help you to light up this card. Obviously, you're going to have to use cards that will help you to draw. That's going to help you to definitely replenish your hand. And in a deck like this, with this card and that ability to convert a ton of gems into green, that's just going to help you to do some really good things with this Primeval Bounty. I would definitely try to build for that as soon as I can. Here's the next one, Akroma's Memorial. This is a good one that we've seen during the spoiler season. This one, if you wanted to take a look at an in-depth view on how to work with this card here, I would go and take a look at Main Loop's page. Right, you guys know Main Loop. Main Loop's one of the big names here when we are talking about content creators. This is an excellent one, and he's covered this one really in depth for our spoiler season. This is one of the top 10 cards, obviously, in the masterpieces, and I really like this one a lot myself. Okay, so for 17, you get an artifact with 3 shields. At the beginning of the combat on your turn, your creatures gain flying, vigilance, trample, and haste till the beginning of your next turn. When this support gem is matched or destroyed, your creatures gain protection from black and protection from red. Okay, so I think the best part about this is you just being able to have that haste. Obviously, what you want is the ability to attack on the same turn that some of your creatures will come in. And I like to have haste because a lot of times you're able to throw down a ton of creatures, but then you have to wait. And waiting is not a really good thing because you give your opponent a chance to destroy that big stack of creatures that you just played. Alright, so you're going to want haste. Haste is going to be awesome, especially with this card here because it doesn't have a color. It's a colorless card that can give pretty much any creature that you have haste, and this is going to be such a valuable card. If I were you, I would take a look at the main loot page. He's got a lot of good stuff on his YouTube channel, and he's going to show you how to play this one in a really effective way. Very cool card. Here's the next one, Sarak the Hunt Caller. For 17, you get a 5/4 human warrior creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if your other creature's total power is 6 or greater, reinforce each creature you control 3 times. Then your creatures get imminent death. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I was kind of debating whether or not I want this one, but you know what? I'm thinking you probably do want this one on the list. And the reason here is you get to have the reinforcements, right? For some creatures, that's going to be huge. Creatures like Gaia's Revenge is just incredible when it gets reinforced. So I would like to reinforce it 3 times. Yes, you do have imminent death. That is a drawback. But you know what? You're more than making out if you get the reinforcements 3 times, right? You're coming out ahead. Your creatures are going to get bigger and bigger. And like I said, with a Gaia's Revenge, that's pretty much game over. Just a couple of turns, maybe just 1 turn if you get that double strike going. And you know what? Game's over, guys. Cool card here. Alright, here's the next one. Prime Speaker Zagana. For 16, you get 1/1. It says when this creature enters the battlefield, this creature gets +X/+X. X is the total power of creatures you control. At the beginning of your turn, discard a card and draw 2 cards. This one I think is really good. I love these ones that will say get +X/+X. Whenever you see a +X/+X thing, that's something that you can build a deck around because obviously you just try to maximize that X and then get it as big as humanly possible. This one I like if you can put it down multiple times in a turn, and then probably what you want to do is see if you can find another creature that when it comes down, it gets a big buff. There's a ton of creatures that are like that, right? So you play that creature, it gets the big buff. You play this one, it kind of gives a copy of the power and toughness, or the power, onto this creature, and then hopefully you can continue that cycle several more times in the same turn, and that's going to be just incredible. We've seen this kind of a card in previous sets, and this is one that just can wreck your opponent. This one can get out of hand really quickly, so I love this one. Okay, here's the next one. If you've seen the spoiler series that we did before this thing came out, right, you're going to know that I love this card. This is one of the spoilers that I did for the spoiler season. Myojin of Night's Reach. This is an incredible card. For 14, you get an 8/3 creature. When this creature enters the battlefield, this creature gains shield counter 2. When this creature leaves the battlefield, your opponent discards all cards that can be discarded from their hand. Obviously, what I'm going to want to do is try to make sure this thing leaves the battlefield, and that's going to get rid of everything from your opponent's hand. What I would try to do, of course, is flicker this one. Flicker is a nice ability that I've talked about in previous videos. This one, of course, if you take this one off the battlefield and put it back on, that's going to activate this and then wreck your opponent's hand. If you can do that every single turn, your opponent is going to discard lots and lots of cards and not be able to play anything, and that's going to give you a very distinct advantage. You're going to be able to win a lot of games just because your opponent cannot play cards. So if you want an in-depth view of how to take care of this card, how to make it work for you, how to just use this card in a great way, I would say go check out the spoiler season video that I did for this one here. This one is definitely one of the best cards for this rarity. Cool card. Alright, here's the next one. This one is Mystical Teachings. I know who likes this card. Gozmaster likes this card. He's all about this card, and for good reason, folks. This is an incredible card. Right? I was kind of slow to get on the bandwagon for this one, but when I kind of read it again, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a good card. It says here, pick one of the first 2 different spell cards that is not named Mystical Teachings from your library. Fetch that card gains full mana. Alright, So one thing I like about this one is that it's super cheap. It's only going to cost you 9. And what's cool is you can take a spell card that costs more than 9 and play it for free. And really what you did was you just got a discount on a really good card. So what I would do is obviously have this one, and there are a couple of other ones like Genesis Wave. Genesis Wave is a really good card to pair with this one. Gets creatures out for you, gives them some big buffs. That's going to help you win games as long as you can make sure that you play this one repeatedly. Go with that Genesis Wave. That's going to be incredible. Alright, here's the next one, Angelic Destiny. This is an interesting card. I do like this one a lot, and I'm going to show you why right now. Alright, it's a spell card that's going to cost you 8. It says target creature gets +8/+8 and gains flying and a first strike. It gains Angel also, so that Angel subtype. It says at the beginning of your turn, if this card is in your graveyard, increase this card's level by 1. Then if this card's level is 3 or more, return it to your hand. This one I think is an excellent one because of this first part. I love to make Angel tokens, right? And one of the ways you do that, obviously, is play regular tokens and then use this card here. Now this is going to be excellent with several decks that will be able to use the Angel subtype. There's a lot of good stuff if you can just focus on the Angel subtype, and I definitely would use this one to turn tokens into Angels, and you're going to be able to do some really good stuff. Take a look at Sarak the Benevolent. That's an excellent planeswalker that's going to help you, and you're going to just really make a lot of tokens, give them the Angel subtype, and use her second ability, and that's going to wreck people. Okay, good one here. Okay, here's the last one. Gratuitous Violence. For 16, you get an enchantment with 4 shields. When a creature you control deals combat damage, double that damage. This is one of the reasons that I like this set. You see a lot of double damage, double power, cards that will just load up and then bulk your creatures. And really that's what this one does. It bulks the damage that your creature does. And you know what? Load this one up with Double Strike. If you can get that Double Strike, you're going to be loading up on damage for your opponent. And this is just going to be one of those that shortens games. It's going to shorten games because your opponent's not going to be having a ton of turns to counteract this one, to take out your creatures, to kind of stymie you in any way, right? This is an excellent card. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys liked the video. Check out the rest of the videos in this series. You know how it goes. Like and subscribe. Share with all your friends. That really helps the channel. Good gaming, guys.